it was a great thing even just to go out and be asked and to walk around the half-finished sets and see all the pre-production design. And it really makes you feel, just as a guy working at Marvel, that this really is our movie as opposed to a movie.
Is it too much of a shift to ask that he feels that he's fallen short of what his father's ideology
I think that's what we're beginning to imply, and we should imply further with either his alcoholism, his tardiness, his womanizing.
Working in the comics for so long, and sometimes watching the movies and going, that wasn't quite right if they just stayed a little closer to the source material. So part of our being there was saying, guys, how far are we away from the source material? How do we steer it back? Is it okay to steer away this way? And how do we just make this the best possible movie?
There was more, as Kiki said earlier, they've given us this world and this ethos and this sort of spirit of what Halo is. And we bought into it. So the story we wanted to tell was in keeping with that. And so then it became more about just asking for deeper questions if we needed to from 343 about canon to make sure we were getting certain stuff right. But we were also given so much freedom to just kind of pursue the stories we want to tell, So there was never a sense of real disagreement or conflict about that kind of stuff.
People have drawn parallels to the character in his own life, but that wasn't by any means the decision or part of the criteria by which we chose him. He's a tremendous American actor who has an incredible body of work, and I think has the personality of Tony Stark. He has the look that sort of matches with the comic books. There's sort of a childlike quality to Robert. There's an imagination to Robert that is very similar to Tony Stark, who's an inventor. There's a sense of humor to Robert, which Tony shared. There's a confidence. There were just so many qualities as you began to look through the history of the comic books and who Tony Stark was, and really who Robert is as an actor and as a person.
Did you take the job so that you could play endless hours of Halo and call it research?
Yeah, absolutely. That was my #1 thing. Just play video games for free, for research.
He started looking at his other non-Human Torch movies and started to think about it and started to go, this guy, he's really good. Like, he's better than people have seen him be before. And he was great. He was the best thing in those movies, in the Fantastic Four movies. And then he came in and he did not do a screen test. And I knew him a little bit from the Fantastic Four days. And we took him around the art department and showed him this cool World War II idea that we had and what we were going to do. And he was like, I'll take the weekend to think about it. And to this day, it's one of the most tense weekends we had to see because we didn't know what we were going to do next. And I kept thinking that if we can't find Cap, we won't be able to make Avengers.